welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Lynn and I am very excited that you have decided to spend some time with me. I have started this because I am a giant reader and I just want to talk about books with people, and I'm really hoping this is the first video that is on my YouTube channel. We will see how it all goes. But I just wanted to jump on here and start with the Booktube Newbie Tag, so you guys can get to know me, see what I'm like as a reader, if this is a place you would want to hang out and talk about books, which I would love to do with you. So let's jump right in. The first question is, why did you start this channel? And this is something I've been thinking about doing for at least a year, maybe a little bit more. I love books. I love talking about books. I love absorbing just all the information about them. I love seeing what's new out there. I love getting recommendations from people. And I don't have a big in-person community of people who read a lot or who read the same as I do. And so this, I feel like, will be a good outlet for me to just probably, let's be honest, ramble incoherently about books a little bit or a lot of it. We will see. I told my husband that and he was like, that is what you do. So buckle up, that's probably what you're gonna get here. But I don't have a good place for that really, so I wanted to start this for that reason. The second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? This is a tricky one because, let's be honest, there's a lot of people on Booktube and I don't know how much uniqueness I'm going to bring to the community. I just want to be part of the community and want to talk about things. So hopefully what I do will be fun and enjoyable to watch. Something that I think I want to do is kind of come up with niche list videos of books. So books about markets, books that feel like the Midwest, things like that. I read, like I said, a lot of books, and so I think that is something that I could do and would have a really good time making. But other than that, let's be honest, it's probably going to be a lot of what you see on here: vlogs, book wrap-ups, just general being excited about books, and I'm happy with that. Number 3 is, what are you most excited about with this new channel? And I feel like I've already kind of answered it. I'm just looking for that community of people who love books as much as I do, who are as obsessed with books as I am. That is what I'm looking for. I think that's what I'm most excited for. Obviously, getting any new recommendations, not that I need any, but I will always, always, always take a recommendation for a book that someone loved or thinks that I would love. So that's it. That's a pretty quick answer to that one. Number 4 is, why do you love reading? So I have been reading my whole life. There isn't a time I can think of when I wasn't reading really voraciously and just kind of devouring books and stories all the time. Obviously, I think for a lot of us, reading is an escape, and that's a big part of it. It's really nice to come home at the end of a long day and just sit down with a book and kind of disappear into another world, another place. I love that aspect of reading. I love the educational side of it. I'm a big nonfiction reader. I love to read books about niche things. That's kind of where my niche video idea, list video idea, came from. Things about truffles and jewels and fruit and kind of the people who go on the journeys to learn more about these things. I will read a book like that all day, every day. So I just love learning about those things and just knowing more about the world. That's another big thing I love about reading, is I feel like it opens up my mind so much more. I can learn so much about other cultures, other countries, other parts of the world, just get other worldviews from people that are different from me, and even people that are really similar to me, just seeing how we interact with the world in the same way or not. So I don't know, why don't I love reading? Honestly, it is the best thing in the world. Number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? And like I said, I've been reading my whole life, but the book that I can really look at and go, okay, that was the moment that I knew this was something that I loved, was Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I'm sure she was many people's first book that they loved, because who doesn't love Anne? And I still love Montgomery's work. Her book, The Blue Castle, I think is my favorite book of all time. So absolutely, Anne of Green Gables, L.M. Montgomery. I still recommend all her books so highly to this day. They are great. Without a doubt, that has to be the turning point for me, just of, okay, this is something that I really, really love and want to do all the time. The next question is, what challenges with starting a booktube channel do you think you will have to overcome? It's gonna be editing these videos, y'all. I am not a details person. I'm more of like a chaos person and just kind of a it's good enough person, and that doesn't work with videos. It needs to be pretty precise. It needs to be, there needs to be like a level of care there that I don't know how much I have. We are gonna find out, and that's why I've said maybe this will be the first video that you see, because this is not the first one that I filmed. So we'll see what makes it out first. But editing for me, I think, is going to be the issue, partly because I will just ramble about books for a really long time, and I read a lot of books, and so then I have a lot to talk about, and then we're at an hour, and then I have to edit that. I'm hoping I can pick it up pretty quickly, get some videos out, but any feedback would be great on this video, on any other videos, because I have never edited videos before in my life. This is brand new to me. I'm just kind of going along and seeing what we can do. I'm hoping once I kind of have like a style figured out, I can convince my husband to do some of the editing for me, because he is that details guy. And I think he would love it, honestly. I think this is the kind of thing he would really enjoy. But I feel like I need to do it at first and just come into my own, you know, figure out my style and what I want these videos to look like and feel like. But yes, that to me, I really think if I can get through the editing portion, I can make the rest of it happen. That's it. The next question is, when did you start reading? This one's quick. I honestly think forever, because I am sure I was read to as a baby. I know I was read to as a child. Both my parents are big readers, and so our house was just filled with books growing up. I was always surrounded by them. It was very difficult not to become a reader, so I think it was just in my blood and was inevitable. Next is, where do you read? And I'll just show you. It's this couch. Right here is mostly where I read if I'm just kind of sitting down to read. It's got a window that's going to be really blown out right now, but it's got good light. It's got my plants. It's got a lamp. I usually have a blanket, especially now that fall is coming and it's getting colder. So that is mostly where I read, but I will read anywhere, anytime, if I have the time and a book available. So with that, we'll go into the next question, which I kind of added because I wanted to talk about this, which is, how do I read? And let me just say this, and it's probably going to sound a little crazy. I read 95% of my books on my phone. Yeah, I don't have a Kindle. I don't really want a Kindle. I think they're a little too big. I like the size of my phone. And I am a library girl. I have a state library and a city library that I get most of my books from, as well as Everand, and whenever I can get a Kindle Unlimited subscription, like free trial, I will get that. But almost all the books that I read are digital, either ebook or audiobook, and I'm getting it through one of those. I'm getting it through one of those services. So that's why I will read anywhere. I should always have a book on me because I pretty much always have my phone on me. And so I will read if I am waiting for my grocery pickup, if I am eating my lunch, you know, wherever and whenever I can sneak in a couple pages, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I'm mostly a library reader. Part of this is because, so it's almost the end of September and I have read over 200 books this year. I obviously cannot be buying 200 books in a year. I love that for people that can, but I, number one, don't want to. I really like, because I read so much, I really like being able to read them through the library, support my libraries, through the book subscriptions, and that way I'm not buying books that I don't end up wanting. I do then buy the books that I loved and want to own and want to reread and want to share with people. But this way I'm not cluttering up my home with books that I'm never going to read, not going to enjoy. And let me be very clear, I do not think books are clutter. There's one bookshelf here, there's 3 more in this room, there's 1 more outside this room, there's more in this house. I have 800 books and I'm always getting more. But I just got to a point where I do have a physical TBR of books that I just kind of would pick up at library book sales or half-price books or thrifting, and hadn't read them and had no idea what they were about. And so I have a giant bookshelf with probably 150, 200 books that I own that I haven't read. And I wanted to kind of stop that train. So I'm now no longer allowing myself to buy a book unless I have read it and I have loved it, with the caveat of if it's an author that I loved their book or it's a series, I can purchase that. But I want to get to a point where every single book in my home is a book that I love and would recommend. So that is another reason that I use the libraries. Also, if you don't know, libraries are such amazing public services. They offer so much more than just books. They offer computer usage, they have classes, their librarians are just wealths of knowledge. They usually offer community events. So anything I can do to support my libraries, I'm going to do, because our communities need libraries. And I would highly recommend, if you're watching and you do not have a library card, get one. It's free. And the more people that sign up for a library card, the more funding your library gets. So try it out. Like I said, I read mostly ebooks and audiobooks through Libby, so I don't even go to my library that often. I will every once in a while if there's a physical book there that I can't get any other way, or there's an event I want to go to. But I read online through my library 95%, and I love it, and I just want to make sure everyone knows that that is an option, because it's amazing. Second to last question here is, what types of books do you like to read? I should probably answer what books don't I like to read, because that list is, I think, shorter. I will read almost anything. I'm not a romance girl and I'm not a thriller girl for the same reason, which is that they both feel very formulaic to me, and I typically am bored by the books because I kind of already know what's going to happen. But I will still pick them up every once in a while if I'm just seeing like rave reviews about it, or I see something in the synopsis that I'm like, oh, that really sounds like it would be up my alley. But in general, those are not books that I read a lot of. I do not read a lot of horror. I will every once in a while, but I don't love to reach for a horror book. Obviously, should I throw Western in there? I don't think I've ever read a Western in my life. I'm thinking about it now and I can't think of any. I don't think I would ever enjoy a Western. I hate to say that though, because you never know, because there's always authors who can do it in a way that someone will like it. But in general, I don't reach for Westerns. Other than that, I read a lot of fantasy. I read a lot of sci-fi. I've really gotten into literary fiction this year, and so I'm reading a lot of that and trying to really like up my amount of literary fiction that I'm reading. Classics. I love a good classic. Like I said, L.M. Montgomery, Jane Austen, Louisa May Alcott are all incredible classics authors. So many others that I have. I read some historical. I don't love like a World War II setting, so that cuts out like half of historical books. But again, if it's the right story, I will read it. I will enjoy it. I love a mystery. I love a classic like Agatha Christie, Dorothy Sayers mystery. Interestingly enough, Dorothy Sayers, Lord Peter, like that whole series of books, those are my main comfort reads, and I read all of them maybe once a year. They're great. I love them so much. I can't explain it. They're incredible. I love them. I read a lot of children's and middle grade books as well, because there is so many things to be taken away from children's and middle grade that I feel like so many people think, oh, well, it's too young for me. The writing is too simple. I think if you think that, you're missing out, because there are incredible stories that I have read in a middle grade book, in a children's book, that I've never seen approached in that way in an adult book. And it doesn't feel too young or anything like that. Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of everyone reading children's and middle grade, because I just think there is so much to be gained from that. So yeah, what have I mentioned anything else? I'm like looking around my house to see what I have. Kind of general fiction. So yeah, what have I mentioned anything else? I'm like looking around my house to see what I have. Kind of general fiction, you know, I read a lot of that. Here's the rambling, guys. It's happening. I'm rambling about books. I was just supposed to say what I read. I read almost anything. Like I said earlier, I read nonfiction. It's hard to find a book that I can't find some enjoyment in if it's, you know, pretty well written. It doesn't even have to be like the best book ever written. If there's like major plot holes or things that don't make sense, I might not enjoy it, but I will read almost anything and I will enjoy almost anything. This is why my TBR is pushing 1,000 books. It's a problem, guys. Don't do what I do. Yeah, so what do I read? Pretty much anything. Give me your recommendations. I am here for it. Last question. We have made it. What can you expect to see on this channel? I will tell you what you will not be able to expect, and that is a monthly TBR video. It is pure chaos over here, y'all. Like I said, I read from the library, so I'm kind of beholden to like which holds are coming in. Everand limits their like monthly subscriptions, so I'm kind of waiting on that. I'm just the moodiest of mood readers, so I literally never know what I'm feeling like from day to day. I kind of have 3 to 6 books that I'm reading in conjunction with each other at any given time. So a monthly TBR does not feel like it is possible with the chaos that is how I read. I would like to do potentially like once every quarter, every season, maybe a list of here's some books I would like to get to. For example, I think I'm going to do one for this last quarter, like House of Leaves I keep meaning to get to, and this feels like the time. So I might do a video about that, but with no guarantees that I will read any of them, because mood reading. Other than that, probably about what you see. I will do a monthly wrap up every month for sure. That is what I'm most excited to do, is my monthly wrap up and talk about all the books that I've read. I'm going to try vlogging, kind of like a weekly reading vlogs. Like I said, the reading is chaotic, so we may have to stop that. I may have to find a way to do it that makes a little more sense for what I do. Maybe it'll just be a little bit more lifestyle-y with some like here's what I'm reading thrown in. I don't really know yet. And then, like I said, I would like to do some list videos, some just fun deep dives into different types of books maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just kind of doing this because I think if I don't do it now, I never will. And I don't want to do that. This is something I've been thinking about for long enough that I think I will really enjoy it if I can just start doing it. So I'm kind of jumping in without much of a plan, and hopefully all of you who are watching will be able to give me some ideas, some feedback, and we can just create a really lovely community of people who love books and want to talk about books. That's it. That's what I want to do. So that is the end of the video. If you've stayed through the end of this, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me kind of just go on again about books, which I just love so much. If you have any recommendations for me, if you have any feedback for me on this video, please leave them down below in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you are not a commenter, I feel you. I am not really either. So you just being here and watching is enough for me. So thank you again so much for being here. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and happy reading.